I'd like to thank the Minister, Mr. Mourgos and Mr. Kostas, for this wonderful discussion about the productive model of the country. We have now another excellent session following. I'm sure you agree that this year's program is very interesting. So we are going to talk with the young people. We're going to talk about the future of jobs. And with us, we have the Minister, Ms. Niki Kerameus. She is Minister of Labour and Social Security. We have also Ms. Yanna Andronopoulou, who is the BOD manager in Microsoft Hellas, Cyprus, and Greece, and she is a member of the Board of Directors of the American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce, and Ms. Panayotopoulos, who is also a member of the Board of Directors of the Chamber, will be the moderator. And we have also 3 young people who will talk with the Minister, with Ms. Andronopoulou, under the moderation of Ms. Panayotopoulos. So if you could please take your seats. Ms. Andronopoulou, please. We are waiting for the Minister, for Ms. Panayotopoulos also. Please, take your seats. Welcome, Madam Minister. We are waiting for the moderator of the session. Minister, as you can see, we have a lot of people sitting at the back. They are the young generation, so I'm sure that we will have a very interesting discussion and we are going to listen to some very interesting comments. While we're waiting, can I suggest something? A warm round of applause for the young children here. We want to encourage them. Am I right? Yes, of course. I believe that the title speaks for itself. What's next? It is the main topic of the summit, and we are talking about the future, and children are the future. You can start the dialogue if you want, while we're waiting for Ms. Panayotopoulos. The comments were off microphone. I apologize, but I had to wear the microphone, and this took longer than expected, so I apologize. Thank you very much. Good morning. We can still say good morning. It's 5 to 12, so okay, it is accepted. It is a great honor, pleasure to be here today. After how many years, Madam Minister? How many years have gone by since we last met with such a special company? It was in the past when you were Minister of Education. It was 4 years ago. And today, once again, we are meeting. And we have also Ms. Andronopoulou, CEO of Microsoft Greece, Cyprus, and Malta. Correct? Correct. I don't need that the Minister needs any further introductions. I believe you all know her. But we also have the young generation. Students like Gabriel Marko, who is a student at the Computer Systems Technical Support Department at the Aigaleo Apprenticeship Vocational School, so-called EPAS. Very important schools. We also have Ms. Anna Maria Balouka, who actually abandoned her initial studies and got involved in culinary arts. She is a student in the Culinary Arts Department. And we have also Mr. Dimitri Papageorgiou, who is a student in the department as a technician of systems of conventional and electric cars. He is a student at the EPAS of Piraeus. EPAS, I repeat, are the Apprenticeship Vocational Schools. So today we will have a discussion that will allow us to identify the future of jobs. We are going to talk about jobs, how we can create more jobs. And since we don't have much time, I don't want to take more of the time allocated. I just introduced the panel, and I have the great pleasure to moderate. And right now I would like to ask the Minister, Ms. Kerameus, to elaborate on the topic. So good morning, everyone. I would like to start by saying that I'm very, very happy to take part in a panel that includes also children. And you know that very often we talk about policies, we talk about young, training, education, integrating the young in the labor market. But it is very important to have these discussions along with the young people. So it's a great honor to be here with you today. And thank you very much for being present in order to share with us thoughts, concerns, critiques, suggestions about the way the state can improve the incentives that it gives for training and lifelong learning, but also for your entry into the labor market. And I'm saying this having in mind the following. As you probably know, our country, and especially the labor market, have been transformed enormously during the last few years. The unemployment rate was 18 back in 2019, and now it has dropped to single-digit number, around 9% based on the recent data of the last quarter. This, of course, signifies an important progress, but we should not rest on our laurels. We are now approaching the hardcore of unemployment, which means that we need now to become much more targeted, identify the pools of workforce that we can actually support. One of the most important categories of the population where we have significant margins for improvement in employment are the young. And yes, we have made progress. We have unemployment of young reaching 29%, but I want to be honest, we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go because we can further improve employment. And the point is, what can we do in order to encourage the young people to enter the labor market earlier? So what can the state do? So I would like to share with you some of the initiatives that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security takes in order to achieve just that. The first is programs for development of work experience. In other words, the ministry funds these young to work so that they can have a work experience. It funds a significant part of the cost. It covers for 7 months the minimum wage, gifts, benefits, so as to strengthen the participation of young in employment. The second in which it heavily invests is the vocational training and education. Ms. Panayotopoulos talked about the apprenticeship vocational schools. I don't know how many of you know what they are exactly. They are the public service for employment, basically, schools, in the context of which young follow courses for professions that are in great demand. And I can see that all three who are present here today have actually opted for courses and professions that are in great demand. All three of them have started their studies in these very hot sectors. The third thing we do, apart from the first two I shared with you already, is apprenticeship for 2 years. And on top of that, we provide consultancy services. For example, we organize some events. We call them Job Ready. The young people attend these events, and then they can follow for free seminars on interview simulations, on how to draft the CV, on how to develop a business proposal. In other words, the state supports the efforts the young are making in order to enter the labor market. And the fourth thing we do is the reskilling and upskilling, in which we believe a lot. Reskilling and upskilling, as we all know, are very important right now, and you know that very well because your company is investing in that. So these are the four initiatives that we have taken in order to strengthen the employment of the young, in order to have a greater participation of the young in the labor market. That's all in the form of introduction. Thank you very much, Madam Minister. And indeed, this is actually happening, and I hope that all the young people will make the most of it, because this will actually ensure a better future and will pave the way for a better future. And now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Andronopoulou. You have 2 minutes for your intervention. And it's a wonderful thing, the fact that we have Microsoft being represented here today, a company that helps young people just like all the other tech companies. So please, the floor to you, Ms. Andronopoulou. Okay, first of all, I would like to say that I'm also delighted to take part in this panel, because we live in a time of rapid changes. We live in a transitional era because of AI, and the young generation will play a very important role in this new era. Right now, we are experiencing an industrial revolution that will incorporate AI in all sectors of the economy, and, excuse me for that, and will also change the way we live. It will change our daily life. This industrial revolution, just like any other industrial revolution, will bring about certain changes in the labor market. Certain jobs, certain professions will disappear, whereas many new ones will be created. The Economic Forum has made an estimate, and according to that, by the end of 2025, AI will have created 97 million new jobs. What kind will be these new jobs? We're talking about new professions that are associated with the AI transformation offices or with AI engineers who will create new AI products, or new professions that have to do with the cybersecurity and AI, or AI prompt engineers, people that will acquire the skills that will allow them to create the right orders, the right prompts that will add value to AI. So we're talking about a wide range of new professions. Now, the minister talked about the importance of training and reskilling and upskilling, which is of great importance for the young generation, because of the introduction of these new courses and skills in the education, but also because of the involvement of the young generation with all the new technologies and with all the free-of-charge training that is provided right now on the topic of AI. At the same time, very important is also the reskilling of the existing workforce, because what will be required is for some of the workers to make the most of the opportunities that AI creates. Of course, we should also highlight how important it is, the responsible integration of AI. There will be many new professions that will not be STEM 100%. They will be more classical studies, which, however, will play a role. The law school, for example, will play a very important role. Last but not least, I would like to say that in Greece, we have a major opportunity when it comes to AI. Why? Because up until now, all the previous industrial revolutions required infrastructure that the country lacked. Right now, thanks to the cloud technologies, we have the opportunity to innovate and to seize the opportunities that emerge as a site. And I believe that the young generation will play a central role.
Thank you very much, especially since because you mentioned artificial intelligence, AI, and now I'm addressing the young generation. AI is something that you always need to have in mind. Everything that you learn now, and later on when you exercise your profession, you will continue being educated, being skilled, and new methods. And I come back to Mrs. Kerameus, Minister. Now we are starting the discussion with the three young people, Gabriel, Anna Maria, and Dimitri. So we have them here, and you can see what they have to tell you and what they can do. Yes. Then we will have Mrs. Andronopoulou, and then the children can ask you questions. Okay, let me start with Gabriel, says the minister. Gabriel, you are studying computer development, computer engineering. What prompted you to follow this, to be registered in the public employment service, and why this specialty? Since I was very young, I was passionate about technology and computers, and I always liked to learn how the systems function, how they operate, and how I can improve them or correct them, repair them. And when I had to choose my profession, my career, I discovered that the vocational schools of DIPA offer something very important. They provide theoretical education, and they link this theoretical education with practical apprenticeship, which through DIPA, the Public Employment Service, can put us in businesses and acquire new skills. So you are having theoretical education and practical apprenticeship. That's right. For me, that was very useful because I always wanted to acquire new skills, and I always wanted to enter the real world, the labor market, beyond acquiring knowledge from the books. Additionally, I'm given the opportunity to start my career with the right basis, the right foundation, and adjust to the new requirements of the market. Are you satisfied so far? Yes, of course, it goes without saying. Okay, let me now ask Anna Maria. Anna Maria, if I am not mistaken, you had first chosen to become a kindergarten teacher, but you then changed course and you went to culinary arts. What prompted you to do that? What is your experience so far? What are the prospects in the labor market? So let us hear you. Well, first I finished the school for kindergarten and infant raising teachers in Corfu, and cooking was a dream I had since I was very young. And although I finished something else, as time went by, I started realizing that I wanted to do something that would fulfill me, that would give me creative freedom. Cooking combines art, tradition, and innovation, and gives me the opportunity to give pleasure and joy to people through my cooking skills. So I decided to change tack, to change direction, and to follow what I really love. What do you have in mind about the future? Asks the minister. Answer, I want to have my own restaurant. Right, okay. Well, the smile is really a wide one. As regards the Apprenticeship Vocational School, the EPAS, really responded to this, to my expectations. Generally speaking, the curriculum is modern. The teachers have a very wide experience, and they are always available to guide us to provide advice. Generally, I have learned not just techniques for cooking, but how also to think strategically about managing of a kitchen. My apprenticeship gave me self-confidence to apply what I learned under real conditions. And I am really grateful for this opportunity and the opportunities given by the EPAS. Dimitris is studying engineering for electrical cars. Yes, and conventional cars as well, and electrical cars. Their systems, their mechanological components, the whole package. How did you come up with this choice? Well, I'll go back a bit. Since I was very young, I was almost addicted to making things. Either it was a wound or a broken toy, and even emotional wounds. And I found out that I have a talent in fixing things, and I decided to utilize that. So I gathered my affairs, my stuff, and I saw DIPA, EPAS, the apprenticeship school, the apprenticeship vocational school, and I went there, and it was the best decision ever made, by far the best decision to study in DIPA, because it gave me 1,000 opportunities for knowledge I couldn't imagine of. Question: how do you see the future in car-making industry with the rapid development of electrical vehicles? Well, since the wheel was invented down to a present-day car, we have a huge future ahead. And as a baby starts crawling, then walking unsteadily, and then walking and running and climbing, electrification as a whole has embarked upon a course which has a large margin for development. The more these cars are out on the streets, the more things that the car-making industry will have to take on board, the more information they will get. And with this information, they can develop the electrification and electrical vehicles as we go towards the future. It is part of the future that we do not know how it will go on, but we know that it is a big part of our future, and it is going on and developing very, very fast. Will we have enough technicians for electrification, for electric vehicles, to support this great growth? That's a very, very good question. Here we have the following dilemma. People, engineers, technicians, have to learn, have to get the knowledge that they have and apply them to a new system, the electrical vehicle. Much of this knowledge is variable and can be adjusted. But if you open up a book, you can learn about everything. If someone decides, a person decides that they like that and they will work on that, very easily they can build their future on that and build the future of electric vehicles. Excellent. Mrs. Panayotopoulos, have you... Okay. I would like to address myself to all those young people sitting there at the back. Listening to your peers here, do you see how many paths are opened up? Can someone answer this question? The young people there at the end, can you hear me? Is there someone who would like to answer this question? Listening to your three peers that we have here discussing with the minister, does listening to those three people, do you have the feeling that the future is opening up for you? Would someone like to answer this question? Because we don't have much time. Either you can't hear us, either you're not attentive, or I don't know what happens to you and you don't want to answer. Well, we'll leave you alone and we will go to Mrs. Andronopoulou. What else can I tell them? Isn't that so? You three are all quite happy, and I think that you have understood where you are going. And when Anna Maria one day cooks for us and invites us to her restaurant, we will meet again there. Okay, Yanna, you have the floor. Okay, Gabriel, you are working in the field of technology. How do you see the opportunities opening up for your generation with the new technologies? And how do you feel that you can influence developments? And what is the most important challenge for your generation and how it could be overcome? The most important opportunity for our generation is the possibility to innovate and to find solutions, to create solutions that will affect the society in a positive light. With the access to technologies, spearhead technologies, and the information we have available, I think we can develop new technologies and services that will improve our daily life, the daily life of people, and which will promote sustainable growth. On the other hand, the most important challenge that we are facing is the speed that technology is evolving at. And there is a risk to stay behind if we don't adjust fast to the new requirements of the labor market. In order to overcome this challenge, therefore, it is important to invest in continuous education and training and to create a culture that will be a culture of lifelong learning. Moreover, working and collaborating with educational centers and companies can help us acquire practical skills that will help us go towards the future. I'm very happy. I have also children, and I see this need, this wish to use technology for a positive impact on society and for sustainability. I think this is something very positive that the new generation is bringing on. I believe, and I agree that the speed of change is major, is very big for everyone, and the need for experimentation. So I go now to Anna Maria. Anna Maria, you are in a sector that is away from technology, but you can also use it. And I wanted to ask you, have you, in your profession, in your daily life, have you thought about any uses of technology? Are you using technology? And if yes, you can tell us which ones. If not, I would like to ask you, how can you tell us, how can technology change your profession? And what would you advise to your peers as regards skills? Answer. New technologies have started playing an important role in cooking, and I use them in my daily life. I use applications, for instance, that allow me to calculate the nutritional value, the exact nutritional values. Also tools such as sous vide, which allow for the exact accuracy for the cooking conditions. I believe that in the future, AI will bring up a revolution in the sector of cooking, helping us analyze the preferences of customers or to predict the needs of cooking, of a cuisine. Even robotic assistants for jobs that are quite time-consuming for the chef and their assistant will help a lot, tremendously. Apologies for this delay. And in this way, technology will become part of the daily life of everyone in the culinary arts. I like it very much that you have thought about it. The more we use these technologies, the more we get other ideas. There was a TV broadcast for the sector of cooking, of culinary arts, and there are proposals for new dishes following specific practices of some famous chef. And I believe the supply chain and the other things that you mentioned will also be affected. Now, Dimitris, I want to ask you, you talked before about the future and how you could use technology, especially as regards electrification, electrical vehicles. What are the skills that someone in your sector should develop, and how will these affect your profession? That's a very good question, and it has a very easy answer. The knowledge required for an engineer or for a simple person to handle AI is the simple knowledge of English. The English language unlocks a lot of potential, even for engines, for machines. And the use of computers, of course, thank God, most people, and all in my generation, those who were born in the internet age, will be fully knowledgeable in computers. So if we combine these two things, knowing computers and mastering of the English language, we can communicate with AI in a way that is comprehensible. Because if I say to my friend Gabriel, take a glass of water and drink up, he will do so. But it is not the same for AI. Very simply, I have to find a way to describe what I have in my mind, in my brain, in a comprehensible manner. Usually, this requires a lot of details. I will have to say, you will move your forearm, you will open your hand, you will approach the glass, etc. So there is a whole procedure there. So to conclude, the simple use of the English language and the knowledge familiarization with the computer and the perception. What should I ask the machine to do? What should I explain it to do once it has raised its forearm? And this is the surest way for people to develop in the AI. Dimitris, if you have finished, unfortunately, our time is up. Mr. Spirtounias is telling us to conclude. Although there are questions from the children to the minister and to Mrs. Andronopoulou, unfortunately, we are not allowed to use more time. The president gave us more time, so very, very fast. Ask your questions, Gabriel. Question to the minister and to Mrs. Andronopoulou, and the other ones as well. Minister, what initiative are you going to take to enforce the absorption of new technology innovations in the labor market, and how will the government reinforce lifelong learning so that the computer engineers can reinforce? This is addressed to the minister. Okay, ask also the question to Ms. Andronopoulou. Do you have programs, partnerships offered by Microsoft to help young people to develop skills in the technological sector. How do you see the development of the labor market for computer engineers, and what is the role of Microsoft to promote this career? The questions are very nice, but the Minister and Mrs. Andronopoulou, having the experience, they can answer in 30 seconds. Reskilling, upskilling. The main method to upskill people, to retrain, to reskill personnel. The Greek state is having a mass plan for reskilling, upskilling for 500,000 fellow citizens, and they have already become 400,000 employees in digital and green skills. So we invest a lot in that. Our generation was studying one theme, one sector, and did that throughout their life. Your generation will not be like that. You will have to change professions, so reskilling and upskilling will be a way of life for you, much more than it was and it is for us. I think, apologies for intervening, that this answers the question of Anna Maria towards the minister, right? Yes, because the question is, what should children learn today in order to be ready for the future? That was the question? Okay. So we have covered your question with the answer given by the minister. Right. So shall we take the question from Dimitris to Mrs. Andronopoulou? What are your habits that have led to success, in simple words? Well, the first thing that I do still today is constant, continuous learning. 3 hours per week, I dedicate them to learning new things. And this is related to the speed of change, which is even more vital nowadays. One has to do it. I would also say resilience, that is, to be able to have objectives and pursue them. There is no one who has not failed in their lives. So the important thing is what do you learn from this failure and how you proceed from then on. Flexibility, because the world changes very fast. The minister said that professions will change. It is very important to be able to be flexible vis-à-vis this change and guide the change where we want. So these are the features that help me reach the point I've reached. Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, for allowing us for a little more time. Maybe after some time, when the children finish their studies, they will be could be able to apply to Microsoft to be hired. And of course, the minister will always be next to the young generation. Thank you all very much for your participation. I think it was a very constructive discussion. We thank the children and one of the best panels ever. Thank you. Thank you.